Just last week, someone I talk to frequently from church asked me why I'm still trying to get married or advocating for marriage if I don't expect to get married in the first place. Simply put, I believe there's a PsyOP going on in the world right now trying to discourage marriage. The PsyOP is a two-pronged attack. It's a pronged attack from the standpoint of morality because marriage encourages fidelity, chastity, and faithfulness that sustains and establishes families. And because I believe there's a psyop going on that's political. If the United States were to be invaded right now, I would go to war to protect it. But I have absolutely zero incentive to go to war to protect it anywhere else. Because what am I protecting? I have no skin in the game. Marriage and family gives men, particularly, since men do most of the fighting and the dying, and have throughout Antiquity, an incentive to have skin in the game, to put their irons in the fire, and to go to war, to protect their homelands, their families. I think this might be the reason why we have a problem with Ukraine, because I've been to Poland, and I've seen them walking around in this city where I live, tons of unmarried, well-aging, able-bodied Ukrainian single men who have nothing, irons in the fire, no reason to stay home and fight, so they fled instead. Well, that's the problem with America. Is where do we go? Where do we run to? If America is invaded with enough troops to take America, we won't get away to some other place. It's been our saving grace and our protection to be surrounded by oceans that have given us the privilege and the advantage of being able to stand on our laurels and not have to worry about things that other countries have to worry about on a standard basis because of all their neighbors and the way their neighbors feel about them. I mean, Canada and Mexico make fun of us, but there's no enmity between them and us on a socio-political level. They might disagree with us, but not in the degree and to the timber necessary in order to wage war against us. And I think that's the problem that's facing the world in general. Men will put their lives on the line for their families. If you discourage marriage, whatever the age may be, you give men no reason to stand and fight. There's no family for them. And I hate to use this as an example because it's a terrible movie. But the movie or the novel, The Postman, he doesn't really get into the fight until he has someone to care about. And then he gets involved. He has friends and people who are nice to him, but until he has actually some skin in the game, he's not interested in getting involved and taking the fight to the problem. And that's what's going on, I think, or it's what's going to go on if the PsyOP is successful. All throughout time, humans have encouraged the institution of marriage. I'm not sure exactly how it got started. And I've been taught at church that it was taught by God, but I haven't been able to find out yet in Antiquity where that's written. But I do believe that it is the foundational cement, I guess, that holds a society together. It binds husbands and wives to the nurture and care of their children and to their protection against all threats. And I'm not just talking about war, but I'm talking about bullies and bad teachers and gingivitis and all these other things that threaten the livelihood and the prospects of the offspring. It's families that do that. It's not fornication. Having a child is not enough to give a man a reason to protect them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have so many orphans, so many kids available for adoption or foster children or whatever, or so many who don't even know who their father is. It is family and marriage that cements a society and a civilization together and holds it together. As soon as you get away from that, you threaten it. I don't want to go down a long rabbit hole about Rome, but there is a problem that arose, and it was significant in scale at the time of Julius Caesar that I believe it caused or contributed to the collapse of the Republic, because we had all these people who were involved in licentiousness and lasciviousness who were not faithful to their families. They were pursuers of pleasure rather than pursuers of responsibility. And so eventually it became big enough that it undermined Rome and Romans and left them at the will of their neighbors. I think that's what they're trying to do to the West. Again. It's not the first time. It happened to Rome. It's going to happen again. It worked before. They'll try it again. Is to destroy families, to devalue marriage as a way to weaken the country because you have so many men who won't do diddly squat to protect it. I have nothing to lose, but I also have nothing to gain. I have no offspring. I don't have any ex-girlfriends I care to hear from or with whom I'm communicating. No, but I have nothing to win. What is my incentive to go to war? To put my life and my livelihood on the line unless I have some sort of philosophical, moral responsibility, which I believe in, but most men don't have that. Most men are not super religious or philosophical. They're men. They're males. They're not men. That's probably better said. They're males, but not men. And so that's not going to motivate them. What motivates them is when someone threatens their wife and their kids, who they care about, then they will do this. You see this in movies like The Patriot and things like that, where they step up and they take action because someone has done something wrong to the people they love. Modern men today have nobody they love. For a long time, men have been told they're not wanted, they're not welcome, they're not worthy. We got all these strong, independent women who don't need no man. And now we have this litany of self-help gurus since quarantine started that have been preaching the message against marriage. All these people who are like going your own way and becoming an alpha male and black pill theory and even people who are like, I don't see the point, because there is a huge risk. But the bigger risk is to society. If society was smart, they would be trying to give men an incentive to get married. And it's not doing that because I don't think the people running our society want our civilization to survive. And women aren't doing us any favor either. I say this as a man. I got taken to the cleaners when I got divorced. But I do believe that this is really the only thing that gives man real satisfaction is when he's building something for those he cares about. And we have too many men out there who are preaching and prattling against marriage and preaching, do what you want, pursue your goals and your dreams and your vision, like society is telling the women. And so we're going to end up with no society at all, no families, and the collapse of the Western world. Because, like it or not, the Eastern world has families, and they may not be the family structure or style that we like or respect or value, but they've got one, and it may come and supplant what we have in the West. And maybe that's the most significant difference between the West and the East, as we describe them, is the family structure. The devotion, unwavering, between a husband and wife, and their commitment to and nurture of the children that they bring into the world. And that gives them a purpose. It gives them a reason to be responsible, to care. I don't have to take care of myself. I could just eat chocolate all day and chocolate and Cheetos and sit in front of the TV and binge Netflix. I have the money for it. I could retire now and travel the world and piss in the wind and do whatever I want and be a hedonist. The hedonistic, nihilistic, narcissistic attitudes never helped any civilization improve. And I'm against the preaching there of those things for that reason. It is going to undermine our civilization. I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know what the scope and scale is, but I don't like the messages. And I have the same problem that you do. My religious community is not doing anything to try and set me up with anybody to give me a reason to have a family or to care about anything. When I was in a leadership position just over a year ago, that was the only, as soon as, they put me in 3.5 years ago. That's when they first were like, oh, we're going to introduce our daughters to him. Oh, yeah, now that I'm in a leadership position, you're going to, but none of the girls wanted to meet me or date me. And now that I'm gone, they don't do anything. They're not interested. And the one person who did, who died a couple of weeks ago, said to me a couple of months before she died that she needed to get me married so that I could serve in leadership positions. That's not for me, that's for the church. And marriage is for the church, marriage is for the civilization, marriage is for society to endure. It's not about the men, but if you give a man a good enough woman, he will do it because it's a good woman and it's a good deal, and he will put everything on the line to go after a good deal. You're not giving us a reason to care, to commit, and to choose you. And so many of you are choosing the same con-headed ninny muggins anyway, and then complaining that all men just want to use you for recreation. Well, yeah, there was already a group of those, but it's going to get bigger because men are realizing that you don't want us, and they're realizing they don't need you because they're being told that. They're being told to be selfish, and it's just going to make the problem worse. I've been pushing back against the alpha male grifting community for a while now, probably to my detriment, because I don't believe that they should commit the crime for which they now serve the sentence. Don't become the kind of men that women hate. And being the kind of men that women are supposed to respect may not get you anywhere, but if it does and it gets you somebody, then you'll have something to fight for and something to care about, which we don't have right now. Anyway, I think undermining marriage and the family is going to undermine the Western world. And I'm tired of all the content out there that says that it's a good idea to do so. These people are not our friends, even if we like their message. Remember that uncomfortable truths are usually less popular than comforting lies, which is probably why I don't have very many subscribers. But it's okay. I'm not afraid to speak the truth. I don't get any money from this. I don't have anything irons in the fire. I don't get a single cent. If I'm right, great. And if not, then celebrate that God has taught you to be wiser than I. Godspeed. Take care.